Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the recap of Payback. My name is Michael Fletcher. As you may tell, I'm not my jovial self as usual because a very serious situation has broken out in Chicago tonight. We'll get into that momentarily. Normally, I would like to use doppelgangers, but I think after what we witnessed here tonight, we're probably not going to do that. So, alongside Anthony Florio, Dee Woodson, and Michael Bullock, and we hope to have Lexi Calloway sometime here tonight as well. But let's dive right in, guys. Um, we're just going to start with the show itself. We did have a pre-show fight before everything got going, and that pre-show match. Let me see if we're gonna get it or not. Actually, no. You know what? The heck with the pre-show fight. Let's dive right into the pay-per-view match itself. And the first fight of the night was the number one contenders for the WWE Tag Team Championship match. It was Enzo Amore and Big Cass versus the Vaudevillains. This got really scary. The fight was called off at 3 minutes and 50 seconds. Enzo got whiplashed right out of the ring. A very scary situation that happened. Enzo crashes to the ground, completely laid out. The fight was called off. What I do have is the latest news is that Enzo is right now in a hospital in Chicago. There is movement in his arm and in his legs, his extremities. He is moving. There was a concern of possible concussion. We don't know much about it right now. However, if we do hear from Derek Ferreira or from any other dirt sheet, we will give you that information as it becomes available. The fight was thrown out, so we do have no number one contender as of now. But I was unable to see this. I heard about it. I raced home as quickly as I could. And now I haven't seen the moment yet. Well, I actually did get to see the moment. Wow, is all I can say. Anthony Florio, why don't you jump on in? I know the fight's an NA because we can't rate this, but
That's right.
talk to me give me your feelings about the match and what you're feeling right now, because I think we're all kind of numb right now in the IWC.
Yeah, holding our collective breaths indeed. Michael Fletcher, no question about that. Yes, Anthony Florio here with you for our Payback recap edition of the Wrestling Forum. We're glad to have you with us. This has been the theme of 2016. I mean, almost every show we've done this year has always been with the heavy heart. And thankfully, no death. I mean, it's not a death thing. I mean, but it's just one of those scary situations that, and, being the holy rollers that myself and Dee Woodson are, because we're major holy rollers, both of us. We just want to send out our thoughts and our prayers out to Enzo Amore, and we want to just hope that he recovers from this, speedy recovery. Last time I heard, he was at least he's doing okay. They said that he suffered a concussion, and but all the other tests were negative, so that's good news. So, but yeah, I'm working on a special word for Enzo on behalf of all of us here at the Wrestling Forum, and for well wishes and a speedy recovery. I mean, well, it's a darn shame because this was one of those matches we were looking forward to, and it ends up being an NA, obviously, by default, the worst fight of the night, and there was a small part of me that thought maybe the Vaudevillains were going to go over anyway because, maybe rekindle that rivalry with Enzo and Cass and the Dudleys. and have Enzo and Cass painted as these guys who, this underdog tag team that came so close so many times in NXT. NXT Tag Team Championship matches, contender matches with the Vaudevillains and Blake and Murphy and the Revival. It's one thing when they come up short in losing efforts, but to have a match end so abruptly because of a very gruesome and dangerous injury that was suffered at the hands of Enzo Amore. It's no secret Enzo and Cass are next to New Day. Enzo and Cass are the most over tag team in WWE right now. They were so over in NXT. Everybody knows that, and we hate to see this. We've seen gruesome injury moments in WWE history. We all remember what happened to Owen Hart. Clear example right there. It led to a death. And then, of course, we've had some other vicious injury moments. Sid Vicious. Nobody wants to remember that. That's all I need to say. You already know what happened to him 16 years ago. 15 years ago, rather. January of 2001. One of the last WCW pay-per-view events. We all know what happened to him. And but the point is, we've seen all these, these horrific injuries, and it's horrible. I wouldn't even wish that on my worst enemy, honestly. But nonetheless, I thought they were gonna stop the match via referee stoppage and award the bout to the Vaudevillains anyway. But it's just sad, man. It's just, ugh. So all we really have to do right now is just send our thoughts and our prayers out to Enzo Amore. All these. I've seen it all on. I'm seeing it all on Twitter right now, all over social media. All the well wishes to Enzo Amore and so many others out there. And I just want to share a special prayer out here. This is for Enzo on behalf of all of us here at the Wrestling Forum. So, light of God surrounds you, brother. The love of God enfolds you. The presence of God watches over you. The power of God protects you. Wherever you are, God is. Let's just remember. I want you all to just think about that. Just think about those words right there. Just think about that, and we're gonna just send out one big happening prayer to the certified G and the bona fide stud. That is Enzo Amore, and so that's basically it. So the fight's obviously in NA. Let's not kid ourselves, but darn shame, because that could have been a really good match. It really could have been, really could have. But as we always like to say, unfortunately, it is what it is, and we wish Enzo Amore the very best, like I said, and I just don't know what this means now. Like I said, I honestly thought they were going to make the Vaudevillains number one contenders right there. They easily could have, but they didn't do it. And he's responsive. He's moving his extremities, which it was very scary indeed. Went through the ropes and tried to go underneath, and yeah, that rope. Brutal. I just came across this Facebook comment from an individual. He says, "Wrestling is fun to watch, and the matches may be predetermined, but these guys and gals put their lives on the line to entertain us. Enzo was injured during a tag team match and taken to the hospital. So far, tests say just a concussion, but it was a nasty-looking hit. Get better and get back in that ring, brother." Amen to that. So, very scary indeed. I mean, I'm glad he's okay. I'm glad he's at least okay for the minute. But anytime you hear the word concussion, well, you know what that means. He's probably gonna be out indefinitely. So with that, I think the Vaudevillains should just be the number one contenders as it is. Sad but true. So that's basically all there is to say about it. And what a darn shame too. I mean, Enzo and Cash just can't catch a break. They can't. They cannot catch a break. And it breaks my heart. It really does. All those near misses in NXT and now their first major chance in WWE, and then this goes and happens. When is it going to be their turn? That's all I got to ask. When is it going to be their turn? I don't know now. I just don't know. Michael Bullock, it's yours. NA, default worst fight of the night. That's it.
Yeah, hello friends, Mike Bullock here for our Payback recap edition of the Wrestling Forum. I'm gonna have to give this an NA as well, but it's a damn shame. I mean, I was watching this, and when they showed what happened to Enzo Amore in slow-mo, I mean, it was just scary. It was absolutely scary when his head basically hit the bottom rope, and then all of a sudden his head basically slams right onto the mat. I mean, it had like a whiplash effect. I mean, and basically the refs, like you said, had no choice but to stop the match. And you can see the look on the faces of everybody from Big Cass. Even the Vaudevillains were concerned as well. I mean, and as Michael Cole basically said, things like this, they just happen in WWE, and this is why it can be dangerous sometimes, and because things like these do happen. And like you said, Enzo and Cass just can't catch a break, because you think they're all going to develop and maybe one day become tag champs, whether it was in NXT or here on the main roster. And then something terrible happens to them, and in this case with Enzo Amore. I mean, it's sad to see something like this happen. We wish no one to get hurt like what we saw, but it happens, and all I can say is we wish the best to Enzo Amore, and like you said, I mean, he is moving his extremities. He is talking. We did hear that he did have a concussion, but some of the other tests they ran, it came back negative. So hopefully we'll get more updates come tomorrow night on Monday Night Raw. So NA on the fight, but definitely our best to Enzo Amore, and we want to see you get back on your feet very, very soon.
All right, Dee Woodson, please chime in.
Hey guys, it's Dee here. This was kind of a sad way to start off a pay-per-view. I mean, the moment you saw him hit, you knew he was out and down for the count, just as he was falling. You know, I've stated several times I'm not the biggest fan of this tag team, but even though, you know, being probably the only one in the room that's not, you know, this is not something you want to see happen to anybody, especially such a young talent as they are. Prayers and best wishes for Enzo especially, and you know, you could just see Big Cass's face and just watch him nearly hit his head on the ring post, knowing that this was just the end of all of it. You know, the journey ends now, and you know what WWE does with this tournament, there's no telling. You know, they could restart it. They could just handed over. I don't know, but all I know is it was very fitting to just kind of drop it tonight and just, concentrate on making sure, Enzo's getting the treatment he needs. And, I know firsthand what it's like to have a concussion, and it's not fun. It hurts like hell, and there's no telling, down the road if they'll find more damage. They may not find it now, but they could find it later. So, just keep him in your thoughts and prayers, and hope that he can make a full recovery, and eventually, we hope will return to the ring. But if not, hats off to him. And this was starting off to be a pretty good match until just the big flub up there. So nobody at fault, just
A freak accident.
freak accident. Just
Yeah.
one little foot just slips out from underneath you, and and if you can't catch it yourself on the ropes, things happen, and that's basically what this was. And
And
I,
and and actually, Dee Dee, I'll just jump in. I'm sorry to cut you off on that,
it's all
but
right.
even Bill McConnell, who's one of my 2184 members, who's also an anti Enzo and Cass, he also added to that and saying practically the exact same thing like you just said. Even though he doesn't like Enzo and Cass, doesn't like their gimmick, you never want to see a professional wrestler get hurt. And he voiced his concern as well. And it states the obvious, folks. Yes, wrestling, the matches are predetermined. And yes, a lot of the stuff, is all storylined and everything else. But what these gentlemen and women do in that ring is real.
Very
The
real.
body, the bumps, the punishment, all of it is real. And we just saw a scary sight of that right before our very eyes, right here tonight. And like Anthony, like Dee Dee, like Mike Bullock, my thoughts and prayers are out with Enzo Amore as well. I'm glad the prognosis is a lot better, because I heard there was at one point they were saying they were administering CPR for Enzo. But I think that was really, really early, at the beginning. The report that we were hearing that he was having movement in his arm and in his legs was actually coming from Stone Cold Steve Austin. Apparently, he is in the Chicago area tonight, so he was actually, I guess, backstage, and he was able to confirm that, no, Enzo is doing a little better, but obviously they're going to hold him overnight for observation, and he's going to have to go through the concussion protocol now by WWE, administered by WWE. So, yeah, we're probably not going to see Enzo for a while before he gets back into the ring. Normally, I know when Dolph Ziggler went through the concussion protocol, he was out for at least a month before he got back in. So who knows how long it's going to be. Hopefully it's not too long. But again, keep Enzo in your hearts and in your thoughts and in your minds tonight, ladies and gentlemen. And with that said, even though we had that Debbie Downer of a moment, the show must go on. And, well, it went on with a bang. Kevin Owens one-on-one with Sami Zayn, the winner of the bout. Kevin Owens pop-up powerbomb at 14:25. Michael Bullock, it is all yours.
Man, oh man, what a match this was, between two friends becoming bitter enemies. And man, I mean, this was definitely one of the top fights of the night. I mean, definitely. I'm gonna say by a smidge, I'll say second best fight of the night, because I think there was one fight that was better. I'm gonna say you know what? I'm gonna say 3.5 to somewhere between 3.5 to 4 stars. I mean, this was just an unreal match. I mean, the body of work of both these men was spot on. I mean, we knew this was going to be a good match, and it certainly lived up to it. And yeah, I mean, Kevin Owens. A nice win for him. And you know what? Sami Zayn's got nothing to be ashamed of. I mean, he looked really good to me in defeat, and I mean, so now the question begs now is what's next for both of them? Do we get another match between the two? I don't know. I don't know. But either way, this was an awesome match. I mean, they had some good matches. Well, I mean, we know the rivalry between the two, and they had some good stuff over in NXT, and now it blows right into the main roster. So 3.5 to 4 stars is my rating on the match. But like I said, it's only good for second best fight of the night because there was one match I thought that was better. So with that being said, I toss it up to Dee Woodson. Your thoughts on this unbelievable match with Owens and Zayn? They certainly didn't disappoint.
No, they didn't disappoint, and actually, I kind of thought there for a little bit that it's kind of started off slow, and fans didn't seem quite into it at first, but hey, it ended up to be one bang up match. So it was really really good showcase of both of the guys' talents, and it was just a very amazing match. My hat goes off for Kevin Owens on winning the match, although I pretty much kind of figured that's what would happen. But yeah, I would give it probably 3 3/4 stars. So Florio, it's up to you.
Yeah, one of the top fights of the night for sure. I think, with all due respect, I think there was a bit of an underscoring here because this was a fantastic match in my book. 4 to 4.25 stars is my rating for the bout. I mean, absolutely phenomenal. I mean, we knew we were going to get something special with these two. I mean, Bullock even, talking to Bullock about it. I mean, Bullock even went as far as to say, he thought this could have been the fight of the night, honestly, based on the body of work and everything else. But 14 minutes and 25 seconds, that was the time of the bout. The tag team title, that contender match, by the way, it ended at 3 minutes and 50 seconds. That was the official time of that one. But 14:25. I mean, the Shakespearean drama of the match. I mean, the move set in this match, the near falls. I mean, honestly, I thought this fight felt longer than 14:25. I thought it felt like more like about 17, 18 minutes or something like that. But who cares? I mean, in nearly 15 minutes, I mean, what they gave us, I mean, just absolutely phenomenal. And, well, let's just say this is not the last we're going to see of these two. And Michael Fletcher is gonna explain why. So MF, I throw it back up to you, man. 4 to 4.25 stars, one of the top 3 fights of the night for sure. I just don't know where. So MF, it's all yours.
That's fine, no problem. We're going to move on right now because the next fight that we had, well, it was for the Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship. The champion, The Miz, along with his wife, Nattie, goes up against the Swiss Superman and Michael Bullock. I know you probably don't have it, but the leader of the Cesaro section, Antonio Cesaro, the winner of the bout, and still the Intercontinental Champion, The Miz. And, well, let's just say this. After the fight was over, yes, all hell broke loose. The next thing we know, Cesaro gave the neutralizer to The Miz. Owens shows up, starts beating up on Cesaro, and then Sami Zayn shows up and tries to Get at Owens. One problem. He got pop-up powerbombed again. Owens went for the same move on the Miz, but Maurice grabbed the Miz's leg and pulls him out of the ring. But he forgot one thing. The Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship was left behind, and now Kevin Owens had the belt in possession. Oh boy, this got interesting. But before we talk about all that extracurricular activity, let's talk about the match itself. Dee Woodson, you lead off.
Well, this was another one that was a really good back and forth. You know, a lot of people, I'm sure, rooting for their favorites as you know, you go back and forth, and it was really nice to see that the Miz was able to retain, although. See, I'm losing my train of thought because there's another conversation going on in my house. I'll just give you a rating. I'll say that it was about 3.25 stars, and we'll just go on because I'm losing my train of thought over here.
No problem. I got this one. Yes, I definitely agree with Dee Woodson's rating here. Initially I was going to give it 3.5 because I thought the match was a lot better than I thought, but I got to bump it down to between 3 to 3.25 because, well, what did the Miz do to win the bout? Very simple. Jesse Ventura from WrestleMania 5 time, pulling the tights and getting the win. That's exactly what he did. And guess what? How did he do it? The infamous roll-up of doom. The roll-up of doom out of nowhere strikes its ugly head again. Ugh. But other than that, I mean, this was a very good match. I mean, Cesaro definitely, I thought was the better man in my book. I mean, I thought, I thought he looked a lot better than Miz did. I mean, Miz wrestled a good bout, I'll give him that. But Cesaro, though, I mean, Cesaro carried this bout. I mean, the uppercuts, and yes, we got to see it. The Cesaro swing. Yes, we got to see it, and he held that sucker for quite a bit. Held it for about 21 to 22 revolutions. Oh yeah, that crowd in Chicago, they loved it. Huge outpouring of Cesaro section signs. Yes, that was there as well. But man, oh man, I mean, I thought this was going to be an average TV quality bout, but no, this match surprised me. I mean, this match ended up being a lot better than I thought. 11 minutes and 30 seconds, the time of the bout, in favor of the Awesome One. And, yeah, the total chaos breaks loose. I mean, Kevin Owens sat in on commentary. I thought he was very entertaining on commentary, to be honest with you, especially, ripping Byron Saxton. I enjoyed that, honest to goodness. And, but yeah, I mean, then Sami Zayn comes out, and Zayn and Owens, they're not through yet, not by a long shot. They go at it again. And, yeah, chaos. And can you now say Fatal 4-Way, anyone? Fatal 4-Way at Extreme Rules for the Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship? I think that's what's going to happen. I think we're going to get Miz versus Cesaro versus Owens versus Zayn for the Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship, 3 weeks' time, at the Prudential Center in Newark, New Jersey for Extreme Rules. Ladder match, maybe? I certainly wouldn't be against it. Although we just saw it at WrestleMania, and that thing was, off the hook. So, but that was with 7 guys. This would only be for 4. Or would it be just the 4 corners Texas Tornado style bout? I don't know. Because as you all know, with Extreme Rules coming up, every match has to have an extreme stipulation, and I wouldn't be surprised if we end up getting some sort of ladder match out of this. That's what I think it's going to be. That's what I want it to be. So that's it. So, in a way, I kind of agree with the decision here, to not put the title on Cesaro right away. I mean, I know that crowd in Chicago would have lost their minds if that had happened, but which would have been great. But I'll sum it up like this: that was fun. The finish and the aftermath. It really kind of doesn't feel like the right time to give Cesaro the belt right now. Live crowd, like I said, would have loved it, but I like that they found a creative way to drag it out. And does it mean a 4-way at Extreme Rules with those 4? You better believe it. 4-way at Extreme Rules, some sort of extreme stipulation. Personally, I think it will be a ladder match, but you never know with them, so we'll see what happens. But mark my words, at Extreme Rules, we're getting a 4-way, and you can believe that. Ain't that right, Michael Bullock, as I throw it to you?
That's damn right. I agree with everything you said, and I do agree. It's a 3.25 star match, and I mean, going into this, I thought this was going to be your typical TV quality match here, but no, I mean, this turned out to be much better than what I expected. I just didn't like the finish with the pulling of the tights and the roll up of Doom and the pulling of the tights, but yeah, I mean, I do agree. I mean, it made sense to keep the title on the Miz, I mean, and not give the title to Cesaro at this point, even though that crowd really would have gone nuts if Cesaro had won that title. But all this mayhem we had at the end, I mean, it was just absolutely crazy. So involving Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, and I do agree we're getting some kind of a fatal 4-way, maybe a ladder match, but we'll have to wait and see, as they really don't have that much time to build for it, because we're only like 3 weeks away from the Extreme Rules pay-per-view, so they're really going to have to do something in the 3 weeks leading up to it. So 3.25 stars is my rating on the match. So Fletch, let's move on to our next matchup on this Payback pay-per-view.
And with that said, our next fight of the night was the Lunatic Fringe, Dean Ambrose, going one-on-one with Y2J Chris Jericho, the winner of the bout, in 18 minutes and 25 seconds. The Lunatic Fringe, Dean Ambrose, he gets the victory. I believe this actually goes to Anthony Florio. So, Florio, you lead off.
Yes, it does. Absolutely right. Another
Go
fight
ahead.
of the night. Yep, another fight of the night here. I mean, fantastic match here. Not the fight of the night. I got to give it between 3.5 to 4 stars. I thought this was a fantastic match. 18 minutes and 25 seconds. I mean, I knew this was going to be a good match. I really did. I mean, when Shane O'Mac made the match on that Ambrose Asylum a couple of weeks back on Raw, I knew for a fact we were in for a great bout, and that's exactly what we got here. I mean, great action throughout. Good near falls. I mean, crowd was into it. I was into it. I mean, we had there was the element of Shakespearean drama there, no doubt about it. And yeah, Dean Ambrose getting the win. I'm more than okay with that. I mean, it gives Dean Ambrose a meaningful pay-per-view win for the first time in a very long time. Probably not since last December's TLC when he won the Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship from Kevin Owens in Boston back in December. But yeah, I think that's the last time he even won a pay-per-view bout, as I recall, because there was the Royal Rumble match. He came up just short. He was the runner-up to the Royal Rumble match with Triple H for the title, and he came up short in that triple threat against Reigns and Lesnar at Fastlane, and then he goes down to Lesnar in that good but disappointing no holds barred street fight at WrestleMania. And yeah, so this is actually Dean Ambrose's first pay-per-view win since he won the Intercontinental Heavyweight title from Kevin Owens at TLC last December in Boston. So long overdue, and I'm glad that they gave Dean Ambrose a meaningful pay-per-view win against a more than worthy opponent in Chris Jericho. And of course, it continues Jericho's tradition of putting the younger talent over. He's been known to do that, and that's why I commend Y2J for that. So, but this feud's far from over. I expect a rematch at Extreme Rules. Maybe Falls Count Anywhere. Maybe yeah. I think a Falls Count Anywhere in this case would make the most sense. as far as these two go, based on their styles. So, but we'll see. I mean, we'll have to progress that thing tomorrow night in St. Louis from Monday Night Raw. So we'll have to wait and see on that. So, but other than that, very good bout here. This is also in my top 3 bouts of the night for sure. 3.5 to 4 stars. That's my rating. I don't care if I underscored it, overscored it. I don't care. That's just how I felt about it. Great match and great effort from the both of them. So with all that said, Michael Bullock, your thoughts on Ambrose and Jericho? 18 minutes and 25 seconds worth.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it an even 4 stars for the match here. I mean, yeah, I mean another really good match here, and I do agree this was yeah, I mean Dean Ambrose, this was his first meaningful win in quite a while. I mean, I can't even remember the last time he got a meaningful win. But yeah, something tells me that this is not the last we're going to see of these two. I do think that they'll have another match at Extreme Rules, and yeah, Falls Count Anywhere. I mean, I'm definitely down for that, and yeah, so we'll definitely wait and see what happens. But either way, another solid match. I mean, a solid match here on this Payback pay-per-view. 4 stars is my rating. So, Dee Woodson, I give it to you.
I agree, about 4 stars. It was a very well done match for the two guys. I mean, a lot of going back and forth, a lot of action, and perfect time limit for it. So there's not much more to say. I think you guys covered it all. So next match.
All right, next match on this card. Well, it was for the WWE Women's Championship. It was Charlotte Flair with the Nature Boy Ric Flair in her corner against Natalya, that had the legend Bret the Hitman Hart in her corner, the winner of the bout, and still the WWE Women's Champion, Charlotte Flair. I hate to say this, but the Montreal Screwjob rears its ugly head again. Michael Bullock, it is all yours, and I feel a rant coming.
Well, what was the time of the fall?
14 minutes.
All right. Okay. Well, first off, good match for what it was, but to me, I'm only gonna give it 2.5 stars, and here's the reason why. Are you kidding me, WWE? Really? I mean, you really? I mean, I thought we put the whole Montreal screw job behind us, but I mean, and now you had to bring it back up again? Ugh. As I was watching this, as soon as this happened, I'm like, man, Anthony Florio's probably going to flip his lid, because we all know how.
Oh, you better believe it, Bullock. You better believe it. Just wait. 1997, Bret Hart's coming out.
Oh, boy. Yeah.
Oh, no, there goes the ratings.
Sound the alarm.
Yeah. Oh, God.
Alarm. Oh, man. I think well, Fletch, I mean, I think we have to, like, basically keep Florio in his cage for now, because...
Yeah, and actually, Dee Woodson is also going to be fuming, too, because she's... Look at the chat box. D rant time. That means we're gonna have some...
I think we also have to keep Dee Woodson in her cage just until I throw it to her, because...
Oh, no. You never put a lady in a cage. That's doubly bad. Do never, ever put a lady in a cage, because of the fact that
No, I meant until it's time for her.
I'm leaving it alone. I'm not going there.
Yeah, maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I basically put my foot in my mouth, but either way.
Yeah, you just had a Byron Saxton moment, Bullock.
Yeah, because I'm just upset about the whole thing.
No, I would probably say if I were you, I would have using a different choice of words. Let's say that.
Yeah, I think I chose it the wrong way, but a little botcheroo on my part. But yeah, but seriously, WWE, I thought we put this whole thing behind, but You had to bring it back up again. I mean, and this time it was Natalya, a woman who has worked her butt off, was a damn good wrestler, and this is how you treat her? Again? No, I am not going to take this anymore. It is so stupid. It is pointless. It's unnecessary. It's unacceptable, inexcusable, irresponsible, borderline reprehensible. And I'm going to bring up my camera, and this is what I got to say to WWE. Screw you guys. So, yeah. I mean, and the last place you wanted to do this was in Chicago. An IWC crowd. Yeah, they are not too happy about this. They would have pissed all over this whole thing. And I don't blame them one bit for being upset. And you're looking at a pissed off WWE fan right here, right now. So no, I don't know what else there is to say. I'm done. I'm finished with this crap. Screw you, WWE, and screw what you did tonight. Dee Woodson, it's yours. I'm finished with this crap.
Don't worry, Bullock. I'm going to let that little Cage comment slide. So you're off the hook on that one. But WWE is not off the hook. I believe a few weeks ago I said if you all went backwards that I was going to drive all the way down to Connecticut and go into the boardroom and slap everybody. Well, I'm about to go grab my keys and go do that because I am that ticked off at how this match went. I mean, you had a perfectly good match going until you just had to just try to put one more nail in Bret Hart's coffin because you thought it would be funny to screw his niece the way you did. I mean, give me a break. She was nowhere near tapping. She was on her elbows. Her arms were not moving. There was no reason for the referee to even think about calling the match, because there was no sign of anyone getting ready to tap out on that. So since you couldn't let Flair interfere into the match, you decided to let the referee screw the match. That is just pretty much despicable. I mean, come on, guys. I mean, I can guarantee you that these three gentlemen in this room with me right now agree, along with my husband who's just sitting across the bedroom from me here. This match just totally sucked. I don't know what you all were thinking, but I can guarantee you that this was not something that you would call improving your ladies division. I call this a big major step backwards and a big slap in the face to every single one of the females that compete in that ring, along with all the freaking women that watch the show, plus the men who sit there and drool over the women who are competing in the matches. This is just a slap of the face to the whole universe. So guys, just please straighten up your act, get rid of the botchy endings, get rid of the cheats, get rid of sending Flair out there to help Charlotte when she doesn't need it. This is just one of these things. I'll give it a couple of stars just because of the action, but your ending sucks. Your ending is, I mean, it's just going to be flushed down the toilet in my book. So you guys just need to go straighten up your act, find some new writers, or just go ahead and let the girls go and leave them alone and get your acts together and get your butts out of your seats back there and do what you're supposed to be doing. So, Florio, it's yours.
And one more thing before I toss it to Florio, they need to get their heads out of their asses because this is
totally
just
agree.
Absolutely stupid. So, Florio, the leash is off. Attack!
Go for it, boy.
I told you all in 1997 Bret Hart was coming out. Well, let me just give you all a little disclaimer here. I am a mighty man of God, as proclaimed by a very special friend of mine at the church that I go to, who's currently in Florida right now with her ministry. A mighty woman of God who I respect very much, who's the mother of a very special friend who Michael Fletcher knows about, because I've talked to him about this person. And with all due respect to them and everything else, I love them, but I try to be the sensible gentleman here, and I think this is one time where I might have to cast that one aside here. There's nothing left for me to say except frustrated is not the goddamn word for it. This is straight up bullshit. Amen to that. That is straight up bullshit. And let me tell you something right now. These idiots, these friggin' idiots all around here, these friggin' suits who have nothing better to do. It's very clear they have chimps for a creative team. Let's not kid ourselves. Friggin' chimps. I mean, is it chimps running the show, or is it friggin' 6-year-olds who have no clue? I don't know. I really don't know. But we got all these idiots out there who just turn a damn blind eye. So much goddamn injustice in this world, and I've had it up to here with it. You've heard me say that before. I'm going to keep saying it until I'm blue in the damn face. I have had it up to here with all the goddamn injustice, not just in WWE, but in the world as well. Way too many of it. Way too much of it. And I've had it. Plain and simple. Montreal again. 19 years. 19 freaking years. And you're still shoving it down our goddamn throats. It is so rude. It is so goddamn rude. Jesus. I mean, I'm sorry to explode like that, but have any of you idiots ever worked in this business before? I mean, I seriously could not believe what I saw. Seriously could not believe what I saw. You ruined a match that was on its way to becoming an instant classic, even better than what we saw at WrestleMania. I mean, WrestleMania, Charlotte, Sasha, Becky, they blew the roof, packed the stadium, although it's been a disputed attendance. Yeah, where have I heard that before? No. This thing was on its way to becoming one of the greatest women's championship matches of all time. The Shakespearean drama was there. Near fall after near fall. Crowd was into it. Ric Flair was there. Bret Hart, two of my idols. Two men who were my childhood. I mean, it was so great to see Bret Hart. A man who beat prostate cancer, for goodness sakes. Michael Bullock informed me of that during our afternoon drive. You remember that, Bullock? You remember when we had one of our afternoon drives back in February? You broke this ad to me.
Yeah, and you had to insult Bret Hart like that? Ugh.
Is that goddamn rude or what, Bullock?
Yes, it is rude.
It is so fucking rude.
What really makes this very upsetting is that, okay, I get it. It's, why, of all nights, with all people, why did you have to do it to Bret Hart? Because think about it. If Bret Hart wasn't there, I don't think we see the Canadian screw job.
Absolutely not.
But because he's there, you had to rehash something which was one of the darkest moments in World Wrestling Federation history in 1997. It was the darkest moment in professional wrestling.
Thank you.
Why do you rehash that moment and have us deal with this again? It makes no sense.
And this man just beat cancer, and now you had to throw this right in front of his face?
Wait. I think before we go there, I don't think we can say that. And I understand we're talking about Bret Hart. But remember, it was Natalya that ended up being the victim of this, not Bret.
Right.
Oh, I know that. But it's I mean, Bret, of all people, had to witness this. Witness Natalya go through the same thing that he went through.
And Charles Robinson. Let's not remember. Let's all remember. Going back to the days in WCW, Charles Robinson happens to be a Ric Flair family friend. That you remember they called him Little Nate? Well, we saw Little Nate tonight.
And I think that's the biggest story of this whole thing. Because now, think about it. When the original Canadian Screwjob happened, Earl Hebner was the referee. And it has dogged him since that night that happened.
Yep.
And everywhere he goes, everybody brings up that Canadian Screwjob.
To this day.
Still to this day.
Can you imagine what Charles Robinson's gonna be like?
Yeah.
Oh,
Little Nate.
But you also got to think, Flair had nothing to do with the original Screwjob, and here he is now, smack dab in the middle of this one.
Oh yeah. And that's also going to be a major factor because remember, back in '97, you know who the players were: Shawn Michaels, Vince McMahon,
Triple H.
Earl Hebner, Triple H. Not much. I don't think we can say he was fully in it. He probably knew about it, but he wasn't one of the proponents that did it.
What about the Stooges, Patterson and Briscoe?
No. They are not involved.
From what I heard, it was just Vince,
It was Vince,
Earl
Shawn,
Hebner,
and Hebner.
and that was all I heard. Was it was just those three that was involved in it.
It was just those three. Now, think about this. In 2016, with this new screw job, Flair, Charlotte, you gotta believe Little Nate is gonna be front and center in this.
Absolutely.
And the thing is that I think the writers wanted this to be in this way because my mindset is, why would Bret Hart give the okay for something like this to happen? Because that's the biggest thing.
Very true.
If he signed off knowing that his niece was going to get screwed like this, he wouldn't be in Chicago tonight. He wouldn't have been at that pay-per-view. No way.
I wouldn't have been either.
So he must have knew that he probably knew what the outcome was going to be, and he had to have signed off and said okay, because it looked like he did.
But at least we got a nice little payoff there with both Bret and Natalya getting the sharpshooters on, and seeing Ric Flair tap out just like he did in '92.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, it brought back memories of Saskatchewan.
Notice Charlotte was tapping with both hands.
Yeah.
Yeah, Flair
and she was almost in tears walking in the back.
Yeah. Well, that was a really good sell job, and trust me, guys, this is not over by a long shot.
There better
not
be
over at all.
There better be a rematch at Extreme Rules. No BS, no nothing.
All right, guys.
And if Natalya doesn't get her rematch,
oh, she's gonna get it. She's gonna get it.
Yeah,
she has to.
Well, the reason why I think she'll get it, we're gonna talk about it right now, and that was the moment. It was all about Shane McMahon, Vince McMahon, and Stephanie McMahon. The big moment, the big decision. And you guys don't need to unmute your mics because we're going to open this up. Everybody can jump in on this one. The decision that was made on this was this. Shane and Stephanie are now co-owning Monday Night Raw. That's right. The brother and sister has to work together and run the WWE. Now, we were hearing brand extension, a whole bunch of other things. Maybe not now, maybe down the line, but as of now, Shane and Stephanie, the Authority and Shane O'Mac, some way, somehow is going to have to coexist. I don't know about this one. I'll tell you one thing. One person who was very angry about it was Jason Powell from the from ProWrestling.net. Boy, did he unload! And let me see if I can get it quickly for you guys. Um, this is what he said, and this is his thought. He said, "What a huge waste of time. Nothing says a new era in WWE quite like the McMahon children battling for power in 2016. Awful," is what he said. All right, guys. Open forum. What do you feel about the big decision, the big announcement?
Yeah, I want this one. I want this one.
Go ahead.
Because I forgot to mention, you may have given ratings for the women's match. I am not giving that thing a rating. There's no rating you can put on that. Absolutely not. So I am going to respectfully recluse myself from rating that fight. It's an NA for me as far as I'm concerned. As great as it was, I'm NAing that before I go any further. So with all that being said, let's get into this. I agree with Jason Powell. I agree wholeheartedly. The segment was phenomenal. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I love the segment. I mean, the crowd was awesome. The CM Punk chants, yes, I enjoyed that very much so. You knew there was going to be a CM Punk chant directed at McMahon. Come on, let's face it. But Stephanie was great on the mic. Shane was great on the mic, and Vinnie Mac was. I mean, all three of them were great on the mic. I mean, I loved the segment. I really did. But what a colossal disappointment here. We were all thinking brand extension, brand extension. It's got to be the brand extension. And then when Vince said, "This is what I want to do," I'm like, okay, it's got to be the brand extension. Shane's going to run Raw. Stephanie and or Triple H, the Authority or whatever, was going to run SmackDown, and everything would have been honky-dory. A Shane and Stephanie consortium? Oh, there goes that word again, Michael Fletcher, our favorite word from senior year. Let's not kid ourselves. I mean, how many times do we use that word all the time? The consortium. Woo! You remember that?
I remember.
The night after Survivor Series, 2001, Ric Flair shows up, announces that he and Vince were partners. Yeah, how well did that work out? Well, actually, that wasn't as bad, but didn't we, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't we see this Shane and Stephanie thing months before?
Yes.
During the days of the Alliance, yeah.
Well,
Yep.
no. 7, 8 years ago, around 2008 and 9, when when there was anarchy on Monday Night Raw, and they had Shane and Stephanie, come in and try to run the show as try to get a semblance of order or decorum or whatever. Michael Bullock, you saw it firsthand. You went to that Monday Night Raw the night after 2008 Survivor Series at the time, did you not?
Yes, I did.
And you saw that firsthand with Shane and Stephanie, correct?
That is correct.
Yep, you did. And that was a flop then. I don't, but then again, you never know. I mean, I know Jason Powell's gonna piss all over it, and I don't blame him for it. I mean, that's the guy he is. I mean, he's like Pro Wrestling.net's version of Derek Ferrer. I mean, I'm sure probably Derek's probably throwing a pissy fit over.
Ferrero probably is going nuts right now.
It wouldn't surprise me in the very least, considering the volatile nature of him. I mean, we saw what he said about WrestleMania. We all remember how he bashed that. So who knows? Maybe he'll bash this. It wouldn't surprise me. Can't please everybody, like I always say. But the thing is, I mean, that's fine. It's your opinion. I respect it. I respect everybody's opinions. You all know that. I value other people's opinions. You guys, my church family, yada yada. But here's the thing. We always say there is always a saying at the Wrestling Forum. That was inspired by our friends from Talking Wrestling, who of course inspired this show in the first place. Give it a chance, and I'm willing to give it a chance. If it flops, well, I mean, it'll be basically one of those "I told you so" moments. I mean, because you've got a 50-50 consortium here. You got Shane McMahon, the man of the people, the savior of the IWC, and then you got Stephanie McMahon, who's no nonsense and by the book. Not what the IWC wants. So it's basically like this. I'll sum it up like this. In the eyes of the IWC, Stephanie McMahon is like a parent. Shane McMahon is a friend. I think you know the difference. So the segment was phenomenal up until the announcement. That's all I can say about it. I mean, the announcement, not the most popular decision, totally threw us under the bus, but we were all thinking brand extension, here we go. Let the fireworks begin. I mean, and Vince had us there. He had it. He said, I want to see you competition. I want to see you two, you blah. I want to see the two, you go at it. And I thought we were going to have the brand extension. I thought we were going to have Raw versus SmackDown once again. Me and Michael Fletcher doing his thing on SmackDown, me doing my thing on Raw. I mean, that's how we were. Survivor Series 2005 anymore, the traditional Survivor match. SmackDown wins it, Randy Orton, and that's when Fletcher's love of Orton took off. That's the night that Fletcher was like, I'm an Orton mark for life now. My heart still breaks for Shawn Michaels to this night, but still, it is what it is. So my hopes for it aren't really all that high. I still have a feeling that this could be, we could be going back to the same old predictable, boring BS, a la the Authority, yada yada. But me being the reasonable Joe that I am, I still think it's going to be a flop. I still think this has disaster written all over it. That's in my gut. But my heart says give it a chance. Simple as that. Whoever wants it next, open forum. Let's go.
Yeah, I'll take it. Yeah, I mean, the segment it was basically fine until the announcement. I mean, in my mind, I was basically thinking the same thing. Like, all right, Mr. McMahon's going to announce the brand extension, but as soon as he said Shane McMahon and Stephanie were running Raw, I was like, really? Are you kidding me? I mean, like you said, I mean, they tried this before. I mean, what makes them think it's going to work this time around? But let's just give it a chance and see what happens. But I just get this feeling this is going to have train wreck and disaster written all over it. But you never know. We'll wait and see. We'll find out come tomorrow night on Monday Night Raw. So, Florida pretty much touched on everything else. So, Dee, since Florio and I already talked about it, what's your take on it?
Well, there is another saying that goes along with wrestling, which is nothing's ever new. And Florio did pretty much kind of stress that as this is nothing new. I mean, we've had the siblings fight it. We've had the whole family where you had each one in the corner of somebody when they were fighting. So, this McMahon's feud crap is nothing new. You always are going to have something going on with it. It may have been a solid segment, but it was just a load of BS in my book. From the way McMahon started talking, the first thing that actually popped in my head was, okay, McMahon's not going to give it to either one of the kids. He's going to take it for himself. And then he got to going a little bit more, and then I go, okay, yeah, we're going to have the split roster again. Then he said that they were both going to take it, and I thought, okay, we're back to the bullcrap shows again, and I'm praying that they don't do that, because, I mean, we're just starting this new era. Let's have it keep going in a positive direction, but we've already been proved once tonight that it may not go that way since we had the flub up women's match here. So let's just hope and pray that the siblings can work together. They seem to, without giving too much away of what happens next, they seem to be starting off on the good foot, but that doesn't mean anything with the McMahons, because you never know when the tables are going to turn and one of them will pull the rug out from underneath the other. So you basically have your fan favorite, which is Shane, or you have your biatch on the other side, trying to keep it clean as much as I can. And knowing the two, Daddy's little girl will probably win out most of the arguments just because she's his favorite, where Shane was more Linda's favorite. So we'll see what happens. Let's move on.
All right, guys, let's get into the main event. Roman Reigns versus AJ Styles for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. Now, interesting dilemma. At one point, the fight got stopped. It looked like it was going to be a DQ finish for AJ Styles. Stephanie McMahon comes out, says, "Oh no, we're going to restart this. No DQ, no countouts. Let's continue." Gallows and Carl Anderson tries to interfere. The Usos came out. Total chaos. When it was all said and done, Roman Reigns is still the WWE World Heavyweight Champion, and the first major decision has already been made because Shane McMahon and Stephanie actually were able to agree on all of the particulars. Shane asked for a rematch. Stephanie agreed. He's like, you know what? Why don't we do this at Extreme Rules? Okay, fine. Extreme Rules match for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship? You got the Mikey Fletcher smiling face. I'm happy. 2 thumbs up with this one. So, ladies and gentlemen, there it is. Your main event for Extreme Rules have now been announced, and it's official. AJ Styles versus Roman Reigns one more time. WWE World Heavyweight Championship in an Extreme Rules match. Now, I believe, Anthony, do you lead off on this? Because who led off on the women's fight?
I did.
I believe it was Bullock.
So actually, Dee Woodson, you lead off on the main event. Go ahead, my dear.
Match of the night for sure, and I'm sure I'll get agreements from the guys as well. To kind of correct Fletcher a little bit, it was Shane who came out before Stephanie, because he said we're not going to end the match on a count out. Okay, so we restart the match. Then we get the DQ finish. So Stephanie comes out and says we're not going to end on a DQ. So we restart the match again with no disqualifications, no countouts, and then that's, like Fletch said, all hell broke loose. What kind of surprised me was that the guys actually pulled AJ out of the ring before they attacked Roman Reigns, and then expected AJ to go in and take the pinfall, but of course, Roman not going to stay down. We're going to keep fighting it out, and then you have the Usos come out, and it ended up being a really amazing match. This one would probably, for me, be a 4.5-star match. But yeah, I totally thought it was awesome, and I definitely like the fact that the siblings were able to agree on how the next pay-per-view match is going to go with these two guys, and we'll see what happens when they face off for AJ versus Roman Part 2. So, Florio, it's all yours.
Absolutely agree here. Fight of the night, no question. I mean, even with all the quote-unquote authority type shenanigans, which I kind of was expect, which unfortunately reared their ugly head here. But thing is, 25 minutes. That's how long this match got. 25 minutes. Very, very fantastic. Very good match. Once we got through the overbooked restarts with Shane and Stephanie. And what else is there to say? I mean, 4.25 to 4.5 stars. Maybe I think I should probably just give it a solid 4.5 stars and make this the fight of the night. I mean, if we don't get those shenanigans, this thing could have been a 5-star classic. I mean, AJ Styles, you heard what he said during one of the promos leading up to the bout. He said that he was gonna wrestle the match of his life. He sure did. He wrestled the fight of his life tonight, and there was like 2 or 3 occasions in this bout where I actually thought, hey, oh my goodness, AJ Styles is actually gonna win the belt. But I'm not at all surprised Roman went over. I mean, we all knew that was going to happen. Everybody and their mother knew Roman was going over tonight. And oh boy, did that IWC crowd in Chicago, yeah, they let him have it. I mean, that ranks up there with one of the biggest boo birds I've ever heard. I mean, I would say that was the second biggest when Roman came out. I mean, that was the second biggest round of boos I ever heard in Chicago. The only one that was bigger was when John Cena came out for his epic title match with CM Punk at Money in the Bank 2011 in that very venue. But, which is still the biggest round of boos that you will ever hear. I mean, if you didn't hear how crucified Cena got during that night, you got to go back and relive that sucker. I mean, because those boo birds were absolutely music to my ears. That was pretty phenomenal. But the boo birds that Roman got were just as bad, if not worse, but very close. But nonetheless, the match was incredible. I mean, Shakespearean drama at its absolute finest, even with the Authority shenanigans. I mean, of course, Gallows and Anderson got involved. Of course, you knew the Usos weren't going to be too far behind. So, yeah, and Shane and Stephanie actually do something smart here. We actually get our main event for Extreme Rules already in advance. We didn't even have to wait until tomorrow night for Raw in St. Louis. No, we get it here tonight. Roman Reigns, AJ Styles one more time for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, and it will be contested under Extreme Rules. That was for you, Justin Roberts. Yes, we miss you. We miss you, brother. Still can't believe they let him go, but you know, it is what it is. So that was my best Justin Roberts impressions. So hope I did it justice. So that's all I can say about that. So hats off to AJ. I mean that's why he is phenomenal. I mean, you think of all the classic matches AJ Styles had in TNA, and I talked to Bullock about this. Bullock, you know, I told you about these bouts. I mean, of course, when you talk about the greatest matches of AJ Styles' career, of course, the first one that immediately comes to mind is, of course, the Unbreakable 3-Way. Let's not kid ourselves. You already know that story. Greatest match in TNA history. I don't care what anybody says. Still to this day, 11 years later. And then, of course, those great matches he had with Christopher Daniels in TNA and Samoa Joe and Kurt Angle. I mean, and, of course, those great bouts he had in Japan. And it's coming up on the 2-year anniversary. Tomorrow marks the 2-year anniversary of when AJ Styles won the IWGP Heavyweight Championship over in Japan. So, yeah, I mean, he's won practically every heavyweight championship there is. I mean, the IWGP Heavyweight Belt, the TNA Heavyweight Belt on multiple occasions. And then, of course, didn't he win the ROH belt too? I'm pretty sure he did. So, you name any heavyweight championship in professional wrestling, he's won it, with the lone exception of the most prestigious of them all, the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. Like I said, at least 2 or 3 occasions during this bout, I thought he was actually going to win the belt. They actually had my hopes up, but of course, they're going to be doing what they do best, dangling that little carrot of hope right in front of you and then snag it away from you. Just like in those Progressive commercials with that crazy pet coon fisherman. Oh, you almost had it. You gotta be a lot quicker than that. Yep, that's exactly what we got. That's exactly what happened to AJ Styles here tonight. So I'm glad he's getting another shot at it. Extreme Rules with those two. Yes, sign me up. I'll be ready for Newark in 3 weeks, believe me. So you thought this was good tonight? Just imagine what those two are going to do in an Extreme Rules environment. Whew. My Lord in heaven. That's going to be, wow. 4.5 stars, fight of the night, no doubt about this one, even with the Authority shenanigans. So with all that said, Michael Bullock won the main event, huh?
Yeah, it was certainly one heck of a main event. I agree. I'm going to say 4.5 stars as well. I mean, a very good match, and I mean, you gotta give credit to both men. I mean, they really wrestled a really good match here, and I mean, yeah, the crowd was all over Roman Reigns big time. That was expected, but still, you gotta give Roman Reigns credit. I mean, but AJ Styles to me was the star of this match. I mean, he had to wrestle the match of his life, and he did, but he just came up on the short end of the stick. But yeah, I mean, you did have those shenanigans, especially with everything that happened with Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson and the Usos. But man, what a match! And I certainly cannot wait to see what happens at Extreme Rules when they face each other in an Extreme Rules match. So yeah, so there's really nothing more for me to say except 4.5 stars. Fight of the night. So Fletcher, I say we move on to overall thoughts.
All right, guys, we got about 10 minutes left of the show. We're going to try to end this about 12:35 Eastern Time, so let's just try to get it a little quick on your overall thoughts. But, Michael Bullock, you lead off, my friend. Well, actually, no.
I think Anthony
It actually
leads off.
be Anthony.
Yes,
So,
it is.
Anthony, you lead off, my friend. Your overall thoughts about tonight's Payback.
8.5 to 9 out of 10 is my rating for this show. I mean, nothing. I mean, all the matches were good. I mean, the only ones, of course, you had that unfortunate ending to the Vaudevillains and Enzo and Cass. Of course, we can give them a pass for that because that was just unfortunate what happened there. So that's an automatic NA, and it's by default, keywords default, the worst fight of the night because of that. All the other matches were good to great. I'm not even going to use solid because all the other matches were good to great. The women's match, yes, that was a phenomenal match up until the BS about that. I'm not going to rehash that. But it was on its way to becoming an instant classic and almost on its way to even be to topping the epicness we saw at WrestleMania with Charlotte, Sasha, and Becky. I mean, those three young ladies practically stole the show at AT&T Stadium in Jerry World last month, and those 101,000 plus in that venue. I mean, that was 3.5 to 4 stars. We even said it, the new greatest women's match in wrestling in WrestleMania history. And then this thing, the Shakespearean drama was there. And then of course they had to pull the rug out completely out from under us and rub our noses in it, but it is what it is. So that was a strike, and then of course the other strike there, and then of course the McMahon family announcement strikes. So it's definitely 8.5 to 9 out of 10 though. The crowd was fantastic. The action was unbelievable. Reigns and AJ stole the show. That was the fight of the night. Second best fight of the night, I got to give it to Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. And then rounding up the top three, I'd have to go with Dean Ambrose and Chris Jericho. I mean, the women's match was phenomenal up until that BS finish. And then, of course, Miz and Cesaro had a surprisingly above-average IC title bout. And that's pretty much it. So if not for those couple of gripes, this could have been a perfect 10. This could have been the pay-per-view event of the year. It would have been right up there with NXT TakeOver Dallas as our show of the year for right now. But what could have been if it wasn't for those few little ounces of BS. One ounce we're gonna let slide because it was an unfortunate accident rather. But it is what it is there. But the McMahon announcement, that was a flop. And then of course the BS finish to the women's bout. So you know what? I'm actually going to give it a solid 9 out of 10 because I am going to give that tag bout a pass. That was just unfortunate, plain old unfortunate. So I'm actually gonna I'll walk that one off. But if it wasn't for, like I said, that flop of an announcement by McMahon when it should have been the brand extension and that BS finish to the women's match, this would have been a perfect 10. But because of those two little gripes there, this is a solid 9 out of 10, but damn it to hell, this was a phenomenal show. Very enjoyable. Nothing on it sucked except for those two little ounces. So that's it. So 9 out of 10 is my rating. Bullock, do you agree with me? Do you have it higher, lower, what?
Yeah, I gotta go 8.5 to 9 out of 10 as well. I mean, this was a really good pay-per-view here. I mean, the only lowlight was, of course, by default the worst fight of the night, the tag team match with the Vaudevillains and Enzo and Big Cass. But of course, the reason why was, of course, because of the injury to Enzo, and but everything else was good to great. All the matches you talked about, and even the women's match. I mean, it was good until that BS finish. So there's really nothing else for me to say except 8.5 to 9 out of 10. So Dee, what is your rating?
I'd probably give it about 8.5. My only other kind of downfall that I didn't mention earlier was Kevin and I were both kind of noticing that Jericho didn't seem quite on his game. The match was just a tad bit slower than what you would normally see for a Dean Ambrose fight. But other than that, it was still a very solid match, still very good. I definitely agree on the slowdowns, though, as far as your women's battle, and of course McMahon's botch of announcement. But it was a very good show. I'm glad to see from the picture that Fletch posted earlier on Facebook that Enzo was standing up and kind of walking around a little bit. So that's very much an improvement from what we've been hearing. And yeah, that match is definitely not something we need to hold against the pay-per-view at all, because that was an accident. It was not something that could have been helped. There's the picture right there, him standing up and everything. So that right there, that just shows you right there. Everything's a-okay. There may be a mild concussion there or something, but to me it looks like he's going to pull through this, and he may be out for a little while, but I think we'll have him back fairly soon.
And with that said, you know what? We're gonna end it, and we're gonna leave this photo. Yes, guys. The big story is Enzo Amore. Looks like he is okay. This was actually just taken out a short while ago. This was actually posted, and this actually made all the rounds. This was actually from WWE.com at first. It seems like Enzo is okay. And basically he was released from the hospital in Chicago, so he should be all right, guys. Like I said, he'll probably have to go through the concussion protocol now, because he was diagnosed with a concussion, so he has to go through the concussion protocol. So we probably will see Enzo sooner rather than later. They'll probably keep him out of the ring, but I think he'll still show up and do some of like the talking and whatnot. I think he just won't be able to do any physical contact just yet, but that's the best news that we can get. And well, like I said, just continue to show the love for Enzo Amore. Speedy recovery, my friend, but it looks like you're going to be just fine. So great news coming out of Chicago tonight. What could have been a real scary situation looks like it's going to be okay. So with that said, we're going to end it here tonight, folks, and this is what we're going to do. As many of you guys know, I made the official announcement earlier this afternoon. It is happening tomorrow. I am going to have an exclusive interview with Jammin' Jack Connor. It probably will go down on my SoundCloud. However, I will post it on all social medias. It will be on Facebook. It will be on Twitter. I'll have it on. It will be also be on the Wrestling Forum page. So keep your eyes peeled. It's going down tomorrow afternoon, and then tomorrow night is the Wrestling Forum, the fallout from Monday Night Raw, and then of course Tony's Take, the Mikey's Mindset. I do have some matches announced for the RWA Dynasty show. Plus, on top of that, I also will get into Lucha Underground because of the fact of, yes, there was a cage fight, and we crowned new Lucha Underground's Trios champions. Who are they? You're just going to have to wait and see. It's going to be at 11 p.m. Eastern, immediately following Monday Night Raw. Anthony Floyd will be the host, and of course, hopefully, you'll see all of us. I know I'm definitely in. I know Mike Bullock will be in. Dee Dee Woodson, I hope you're there. And I hope we get Lexi Calloway. I miss her. I actually generally do miss her. I think she was definitely a breath of fresh air. I loved what she brought to the table. I hope we'll get to see her soon. So, with that said, for Anthony Floyo, for Dee Dee Woodson, for Michael Bullock, and I am Michael Fletcher. Thank you so much for watching this. Like the video, share it with all your friends. I know these guys do it all the time. Not only that, leave a comment. What was your favorite fight for tonight's pay-per-view? And show your love for Enzo Amore too, on behalf of us as well. So until then, see you guys tomorrow night. Good night. Hug the hand pounds. We are